By working with stakeholders and using the organizational assessment techniques we've covered, at this point, hopefully we've done a good job of identifying the root causes behind the issue or opportunity that we're looking to address. As such, our attention now turns to resolving these issues or leveraging these opportunities. And to do so, we have to first determine what the necessary capabilities will be in order to take action. In other words, what do we need to be able to do in order to accomplish whatever solution is that we might be considering for this issue or opportunity? In the case of simple situations, we may simply have simple recommendations. This goes back to our earlier conversation during the 5 whys example. Here, we really didn't need an act of Congress in order to do anything. Rather, at our fulfillment center, we were able to change some of our training protocols accordingly to make sure that everyone would be on the same page, even if they transfer in between our normal training sessions. In other cases, we may require a more complex solution that's going to require an assessment of organizational capabilities at large. This can be true especially if we are developing a new product line or trying to solve a very complicated issue that involves many different portions of the business. As such, we can use tools like a capability table in order to help. These are useful in tying problems to root causes and suggesting capabilities that might be useful for dealing with them. Here as headers, we have problem or current limitation, along with root cause or causes, and new capability or feature that we might be proposing. The problem in this case is that our fulfillment times are below target. The root cause here might be that there's inadequate training. And a new capability or feature that could be helpful would be enhancing our training and having special training for new recruits or transfers into the organization. However, there are some other causes that we saw identified during our discussion earlier. The system version does have discrepancies between facilities, and this indicates that there might be a larger problem within the organization, and that this isn't something that is unique purely to our fulfillment center. In this case, unifying the platform versions across all organizational facilities could go a long way toward ensuring that everyone's on the same page, and that new recruits and transfers are able to conduct themselves immediately upon entering that facility, the same as they would any other. Third, there might also be a lack of valuable features in the current platform. While the line manager in our example happened to be incorrect about whether or not the current generation version of the software that we're using is going to have the feature he was looking for or not, that doesn't mean that he was entirely wrong or that we shouldn't investigate this further. Perhaps there are other features that we could put into place that would allow us to continue improving our systems in the way that we fulfill orders. A next-generation platform with a desired feature set could help to handle this, and so perhaps we should investigate what sort of features could be most useful and do some work on identifying a next-generation platform that could be used across all facilities, especially if we're going to go to the trouble of unifying them all onto one platform anyway. Let's say that another current problem or limitation is that our customer satisfaction is below target levels. This could be due to the increased defect rate that we saw in the interrelationship diagram example. The addition of new quality assurance procedures may be helpful in this regard. However, if inferior materials quality is also leading to customer satisfaction being lower than we'd like, then we may want to look at having higher budgetary flexibility so that we can contract with higher quality sources. It could be that we need to cut into our margins a bit in order to ensure that we can make the highest quality product possible. In this case, we'd be relying on the fact that our reputation being improved and customer satisfaction being higher will lead to better sales and, in the long term, help to benefit the company more than any small cuts might in the meantime. Another tool that can be useful in helping us to determine our required capabilities are affinity diagrams. Affinity diagrams help to surface common themes across issues and can be helpful in determining what capabilities may contribute to solutions to one or more of these issues at the same time. After all, any time that we can take care of several problems with the same solution, that would be particularly effective and a good choice. So we might categorize all of our HR issues together, for example, and we might see that a potential solution is that we can implement new training protocols. This would help to solve a number of different issues, including infrequent training, gaps in training for new transfers versus those who are already on the ground and working, as well as some issues that we're seeing with below target performance. We may also decide that we want to use new quarterly evaluations to also help to address this below target performance. After all, if we're providing additional training and we feel like everything is up to snuff in that regard, but we're still not getting the performance we're looking for, perhaps we need to look at the individuals a little more closely and how we can make sure that we have the right people on the job. Different technical issues might arise as well. Here we see just one type of solution that's being employed, which is the deployment of a new system potentially. This could help to fill the technical gaps between facilities as well as a need for new features, and so it might make more sense than simply unifying around the most current version of the software. Management issues would fall under a different category, and here we see that we might want to retool our analytics reporting. The problems that we're having in our fulfillment center went on unnoticed and unreported for too long, and so that indicates that we might need to do something in order to help keep this from happening again in the future. By making sure that we're getting the right analytics, we can help to nip the next problem in the bud, rather than allowing it to cascade in a manner that would cause problems. Another way we can help to identify what required capabilities might be is by conducting competitive analysis. Have others solved similar issues or leveraged similar opportunities in the marketplace, either within our own company or elsewhere? How have they done so? What best practices can be followed based on examples that we see either inside of our own organization, elsewhere in the industry, or even by a direct competitor? There are a number of different ways that we can conduct this competitive analysis. The first is to simply review analytics, and this is particularly important if we're looking to internal guideposts as a marker. Here, we may be able to get data from other divisions or product lines and learn from what they've done so far. This isn't so much competitive analysis as it is collaborative analysis, since we'd be building on the work of our peers. When it comes to direct competitors, perhaps we can do some research, looking at their website or other publicly available assets that they might publish that can give us an idea as to how they've gone about solving these issues in the past. Perhaps we can interview people directly. Key stakeholders, subject matter experts, even those from outside the company, industry sources, external consultants, and more, who can help us to better understand how others have dealt with similar issues in the past. In the case of certain environments, we might even be able to secret shop them. In other words, go directly into the organization or competitor and see how they're doing things firsthand. This is particularly the case in retail environments where we can go in and pose as a potential customer and learn more about how that business is able to conduct itself when it comes to challenges that we may be investigating.